Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at T-Mobile. This was a stock analysis request from one of the followers, and I wanted to let you know that anyone can make these requests and I will most likely cover them, especially if there is an actionable trade setup to follow. And these days there is a bit of a backlog, so it may take a bit longer than usual. If you already made a request, we will most likely get to it, but yeah, it will take some time as there are very many requests these days. And yeah, obviously we are working on them, but there are also the regular stocks that we are covering that need updates frequently, and it just takes a bit of time. Now, to get on this chart, we are tracking here a larger potential 5-wave move to the upside to be forming, where I believe right now we would still be in a third wave at this point. Now, my main interpretation concerns the idea that we have here a 1-2 setup, and even though this is not the all-time low, I am tracking the 1-2 setup from this point because it works better within the larger structure that seems to be forming within this area, and it was such a deep retracement. This could easily be part of a distortion that we didn't manage to form here an additional low. It could be part, since we started here with a correction, of a running flat, which is perfectly fine, but basically allows us to be tracking a potential larger structure that has started here, a larger uptrend that starts from this low instead. And not only that, but right now, even if it was this the wave 1, the initial wave 1 to the upside, we would be tracking a very similar structure. I would be tracking the same pattern to the upside, and I would be mainly concerned with this third wave, which would have pretty much the same expectations in either case. Yeah, once that is complete, sure, there may be some differences between the two scenarios, but right now, yeah, not something I believe we should focus on. And with that said, on this chart we are tracking a larger leading diagonal to be forming, where we are looking here for an ABC structure within the third wave to the upside. There are many points on this chart which an impulse forming was attempted, but yeah, there was a clear failure. And even if I wanted to be tracking a more impulsive structure, even if I wanted to be considering this as some sort of a series of 1-2 setups, from this area, I would need to consider again a potential 1-2 setup and maybe a couple, but even that wouldn't work too fine because we already have quite a deep retracement, and yeah, it doesn't work for this to form an impulse to the upside still, because we would need to have already been in a fifth wave to the upside in this area. And in that case, yeah, we are tracking a large diagonal structure. And right now we are still exploring here extensions within this wave C, where I would believe we have formed here an initial wave 1 up, a wave 2 down, and now we are in the third wave to the upside. And in this wave C itself, we are also tracking a diagonal structure, since once again, here we cannot be tracking impulses, and this structure doesn't really allow such a pattern to be tracked reliably, and we are tracking in that case an ABC structure here in the wave 1, an ABC structure in the wave 3, and we will be tracking an ABC structure in the fifth wave to the upside as well once the third wave and fourth wave are complete. Now, with that said, in this area we are tracking an internal wave C in this larger wave 3 to the upside, and once again this seems to be forming a diagonal structure itself, where right now we have formed the wave 1, 2 and 3, and we are looking to form the fourth wave correction, where we have the area of support between the $229.3 all the way down to the $169.6 level at the 61.8% retracement. And as long as we hold here this area of support, we can look with decent reliability for a fifth wave to the upside. Now, this isn't necessarily because this is such a reliable structure itself, but as part of the larger trend, it does work out pretty nicely. And not only that, we can also be tracking here internally that we seem to be heading into completing a larger three-wave structure, which actually forms or could form a very nice wave 4 correction. And internally within this wave 4, we are tracking an ABC structure itself, and within this ABC structure, I would like to see in the wave C a 5-wave move to be formed to the downside. Now, we can also check here some extensions, some expectations that we would have normally for such a pattern, but unfortunately within this wave C, the pattern is a bit harder to read. It is also formed within a diagonal pattern itself. Most likely, yeah, it could still extend within an impulse, but then most likely it would not still be this wave C in such a pattern. And so far within this wave C, we have gotten to the 123.6% extension. Normally, we are looking for the ideal target at the 100% extension, but as I always say, we don't need to get there, and we don't need to stop there. Clearly, this is one of the cases where we have exceeded and might still be within such a wave C. At this point, we may even get here to the 138.2% extension of the wave A, and that is not a problem. Really, we only need to form here the 5-wave move to the downside to have a more reliable wave C complete. Now, within this wave C, I am, as mentioned, tracking an ending diagonal. It is an uglier structure in this area, and in such a case, we can also look for potential ideal extensions, gauge how likely these interpretations are, and in this wave 3, in this internal wave 3 within the wave C, we have gotten here to the 161.8% extension of the wave 1, even beyond that a little. And then we have had our retracement in the wave 4, where we seem to have gotten around the 38.2% retracement. Yeah, we have pushed a little bit beyond it, but we didn't get quite to the 50% retracement. That is perfectly fine. We were allowed to go all the way up to the 61.8% retracement, and then we continued in our 5th wave to the downside. Now, within this structure, what we expect really is to form an ABC in this wave 5. That is what we need to consider this wave C complete, to have a full count. Now, as mentioned, extensions are possible, and even some quite bearish extensions are available for this chart to undergo, but this is honestly always the case. So we cannot really focus on such small patterns on the possibility of extensions, because then we would never get into a position. Now, it is your choice. I'm not telling you if you should enter or not. I am just pointing out that from a larger time frame perspective, we have a 3-wave down. We are into a larger area of support on in a larger uptrend that is forming on this chart. From these points of view, it is an interesting area, and in the end, ultimately, it will be your choice what you do. I'm just providing you here the relevant information, in my opinion. Now, as I was saying, in this 5th wave, we are looking for an ABC structure, and if I were to assume, I would actually probably still like to form another low within this 5th wave, because within this wave C, I would once again always expect a 5-wave move to the downside to be forming, and in such a pattern, I would assume that this is the wave 1 down, the wave 2 up, the 3rd wave down, which seems very possibly done. Not necessarily, even this 3rd wave itself could extend, although at this point I would probably prefer a bottom to be in and to be looking here for a 4th wave correction. Now, in that case, I won't be adding even, actually I suppose we could add here even an internal count, but the main area to watch out for, the area of focus that would signal to me that this bottom is most likely in, this local bottom, not necessarily the wave 4 bottom. For that we would need to break larger resistance levels, but for this locally, for this wave C, it would signal to me that it is done most likely if we break here above the 61.8% retracement at the $205 level, $204.8, around that area anyway. Now, I want you to keep in mind that if we extend here internally in this wave 3, we should be prepared for, or also we should be prepared for this area of resistance to be adjusted as well, because it would move lower along with the actual internal wave 3. And I suppose we can even add here, for clarity, an internal count in a 1, 2, 3, 4th, and the 5th. This is the main idea that we're tracking, but keep in mind, it could bottom at any point. When we need just such a tiny low, this larger correction could be done at any point. We could even consider the B wave top here, and in that case, I could not really reliably be expecting with high certainty additional lows. And the main idea is to zoom out and look from a larger time frame perspective and consider if this is an interesting chart to you. If this is enough for you to consider a position, and where you choose to enter, well, that may differ depending on your risk tolerances, but it is decently deep within the area of support, and it is within quite a significantly large time frame that we are looking for such a trade setup. And for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.